This video demonstrates how to set up an ID card alone for both a test and a quality control isolate at the Smart Carrier Station. This ID card will use just one slot in the Smart Carrier Station. The card is placed directly behind the standardized suspension. At the Smart Carrier Station, with the cursor in the next available Lab ID field, slot 3 in this cassette, scan the barcode from the culture plate or type the number using the keyboard and press Enter. The isolate number defaults to 1. For isolates 2 through 9, use the arrow key to go back to the isolate field, type the correct number, and press Enter. Because we are testing isolate 1 for this lab ID, no change is necessary. Remove the room temperature ID test card from its foil pouch. At the Smart Carrier Station, with the cursor in the card type field of slot 3, scan the ID card barcode. The indicator in the lower part of the screen displays an I with a plus sign in slot 3 to represent a gram-positive ID card. The white circle indicates that a suspension should be placed in well 3. Place the ID card in slot 3 standing on end with the transfer tube pointed towards the display screen. Add an offline test if needed. Note, the only ID card that requires offline tests is the ANC card. If required by your standard operating procedure, label the top third of a 12 by 75 mm clear polystyrene tube with the accession number. Using the dispense set, dispense 3 milliliters of 0.45 to 0.50% saline into the tube. Use a sterile stick or swab to prepare a homogeneous suspension, being careful to avoid picking up any agar. Although optional, capping the tube and using a vortex is often helpful. Clean the outside of the tube with lint-free tissue or lens paper. Using the DensiCheck Plus, verify the inoculum density equivalent to the McFarland units required for the ID card. If the suspension requires adjusting, add more saline or organism, following instructions provided in the ID and AST pair setup video. Once the optical density is within the correct range, place the inoculum tube in well 3. Turn the ID card and place the transfer tube in the inoculum tube. Cards to be used for quality control, QC purposes, are set up much like those for patient isolates with just a few differences. First, the lab ID is the organism's American Type Culture Collection, ATCC number, for example, ATCC 43079. Second, a QC isolate group can contain only one card, either ID or AST. Third, organism ID, offline tests, and modifier fields in the Smart Carrier Station should be left blank. The next example demonstrates setting up a gram-positive ID card for quality control. Press the next slot key to move to slot 4 in the cassette. In the Lab ID field of slot 4, scan the ATCC organism number from the Job Aid card and press the Enter key. Remove the room temperature ID test card from its foil pouch. In the card type field, scan the ID card barcode. The indicator in the lower part of the screen displays an I with a plus sign in slot 4 to represent a gram-positive ID card. The white circle indicates that a suspension should be placed in well 4. Place the card in slot 4 standing on end with the transfer tube pointing towards the display. Do not enter an organism ID, offline test, or modifier for QC isolates. Label a clear polystyrene tube and dispense 3 milliliters of 0.45 to 0.50% saline. Use a sterile stick or swab to prepare a homogeneous suspension, being careful to avoid picking up any agar. Verify the correct inoculum optical density using the DensiCheck Plus. Place the inoculum tube in well 4. Turn the ID card and place the transfer tube into the inoculum tube. If there are additional isolates to be set up, press the next slot key.